So after cleaning off all the little pieces that hold the joiner parts together, I first put primer on, and then I put blue on, similar to last time. Still not sure about the blue paint. I think it may be too fragile for tools, but we're going to try it. So there we go. And then I have to, of course, because there are holes and there are bolts, I need to run through and use the tap and die and clean off all the holes and bolts and take all the tape off that was on the machine surfaces. And that was good. And then go through and again do the tap and die. Started manually, then realized the drill works way better. And I wanted to go in and out several times anyway, so the drill worked way better. Just do it careful and you don't screw it up. So I got all those pieces sorted. And then I can't do that. Got to put the attachment piece on first. And then later I figure out, okay, I can't do that. It's backwards. Take it off, put it back on again. So there I figured out the handle won't fit. Take it off, turn it the other way, put it back on. That's going to work. All right, attach it. You can see I have a piece of tape holding that little handle up so it doesn't fall. And that all worked. And then there I'm putting the bolts on, and I realized I need to get the spacer piece for that handle built. So I cut a piece of double thick, heavy, industrial type plywood. I think it was birch plywood, double thick birch plywood. So that worked. And you spray paint it silver just because. And then I have to drill the hole in the handle. I used it was supposed to be a 7/16 hole. I should have used a smaller drill bit because I didn't realize it wasn't fully supported, so it was a little wobbly, but it'll be fine. And then I cut the bolt off after measuring it, of how long it's supposed to be. And then file the end so it's smoother and it'll go in nice. And then test it, and it's a little wobbly, but file flat on it to put a set screw, and then draw a spot to put the set screw, and then drill for the set screw. And then move it clear out and run the tap down in. It was supposed to be a 3/16. I used a smaller tap. Well, no, I did use the right size. I used a smaller drill hole than 3/16 this time, so to not screw it up. But I did use the 3/16 tap. Had to go up and down a couple times, and then initially I was going to use a 1/2 inch one, and then tried the 3/8 size, and that worked great. And here is trying to test and install it. So I have a washer, and then that piece of plywood, and then a little thin piece of cardboard, and then another washer, and then the handle, and then a small washer, and then the blue handle, then a small washer, and then the handle I made. So it goes handle, washer, blue handle, washer, cardboard, plywood, washer. And that worked. And I'm just readjusting so you have a slightly better view. And yeah, so spins in tight, and then that handle is locked in place. Loosen it, handle moves just like it's supposed to. So that means I put enough stuff in between the blue handle and the side. All right, one more big piece put back together and a missing part replaced. One thing I'm not sure about this paint, the blue paint. It tends to like chipping. I noticed it when I was just using the drill press now too. So, yeah, it gets dinged easy. Yeah, well, it's a tool. It looks cool when it's not dinged. And I have extra, I can always spray paint it. The one challenge with this, as you saw in the video, you have to put those things back on in the right order. Otherwise, nothing fits. But as it is, this all cleaned up nice and works good. It loosens. Ouch. That's not gonna work. I was gonna put one of those on there, but that's not gonna work. That's gonna ding my hand as it did. Anyway, you loosen that, and then this turns, and that will shift. You can see it moving. Well, let's see. If we do that, you can see it moving away from my hand, and then it'll come back down. So the handle mechanism works. That's good. And that locks in. The only thing is I gotta There's a sharp edge on that. I gotta either put a smaller one on or just take that off entirely. But the handle is cool. So this was that handle that I had bought online, and then I got a 7/16 bolt, and that was the threads that was in the hole. And then I just have a washer, a piece of thick plywood, a piece of cardboard, and a washer to fully go between those two spots, because it was just with the washer without the cardboard wasn't quite tight enough. And then another washer between this and the handle, so then it hopefully will ding the paint up less. And that works great. You tighten it. This thing doesn't move. You loosen it, and you can move it. Now, the one thing I'm not 100% sure on, so I'm probably just going to leave it in the neutral position and tightened, because I don't know what to adjust for these bolts or the table, that this will turn and rotate those lobes to lift the table up slightly. So I'm not sure on that, but I'm probably not going to need that, so just having it in the loose position and tight, it's probably fine. So yeah, very cool. It looks nice. I do think I'm going to spray paint. This is just bare aluminum right now. I do think I'm going to spray paint that the same silver color as I did for some of the other pieces. Yeah, here's an example of the blue paint comes off. I could have put washers there, and maybe I'll go back and redo that. Or maybe I won't bother because it's a tool. When you press on it or ding it, it goes through to the primer, but it won't rust. And like I said, it's a tool. And normally the table's going to be up here anyway, and you're not going to be able to see some of those things. But it looks cool from a distance. So if it's a 6-foot restoration, like I've heard other people do on YouTube, it looks great. If you go up close, then you see the stuff. But from here, you can't really tell. I mean, you see a little bit of light, but you could just think that's lighter color. Yeah, it's fine. It looks pretty and it works. And the biggest thing I'm happy about is this. That worked. Initially, I thought about putting threads and everything else, and it's like, just hold on a second. What's simplest? The bolt coming into here, and then it's like, do I want a roll pin or no? Those are harder to take out. Just use a set screw. So I use a 3/8 set screw. That worked good. It's a 3/8/16 set screw that's 3/8 inch long, and then just the 7/16 bolt, and that should work just fine. So now I get to work on the next piece. I'm not sure if the next piece is going to be the table or if I'm going to do the infeed next. Might do the table because it's here, and then I have more floor space. And then I get to play with all this stuff with the infeed table and such. But I do have the other pieces painted for attaching the infeed table to the frame. And I got all the screws painted and cleaned up and the threads chased and all that stuff. So it's getting there. Very cool. So far so good.